Please listen carefully. Oh my goodness.
You're listening to Game Over, a look inside the gamer's mind. I am joined here today by Sam and Duran. Sam is actually my guest host today because I'm a little bit under the weather, so sorry if I cough or gross. I'm sorry. I had to put on a radio show today. But thank you so much for being here. Sam Brown is actually the president of the U.S. esports team.
At the University of Southern California. Of the club. And also the team. We have a team.
Right. And she's a community liaison for
the Collegiate Star League.
Right, or CSL. And then Duran, our guest today, who is actually the co-founder of CSL. So I would like to say hello, and how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Besides being under the weather.
Yeah, I mean, I could be better, but I'm having fun today with you guys, so
cool.
That works.
Yeah.
Me too.
So let's talk esports. How exactly did you get into collegiate esports?
Well, I guess back in my day, there was no such thing as collegiate esports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how old are you, actually?
I'm too old.
Back in the day.
What year did I graduate?
Yeah.
2009.
Where did you graduate? Yeah, where?
Okay, so, all right, well, tell you the story.
Yeah.
I went to UCSD, and every year they host a big gaming festival, Winter Games Fest. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Yeah.
And they had a StarCraft tournament. Actually, they still do. And when I was in college, I used to be like a semi-pro StarCraft player, I guess, when I was younger, before there was such a thing as like people making money from playing games. And so I knew like all of the StarCraft community. And so when I saw that UCSD was having a StarCraft tournament, I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to go and like easily win, because I don't know anybody that plays.
Right.
So I went and I found out there was a bunch of Asian kids who were playing StarCraft, and some of them were pretty good.
Yeah.
And then after the tournament, I said, let's put together a team and like challenge, like UCLA and some of the other UC schools.
Yeah.
And
UCLA.
so that's when we created the first like college team.
Nice.
And then I reached out to some of the other people at other schools via like Team Liquid, so StarCraft community site.
Right.
So I just said like, I'm looking for other people from UCs, and if you guys want to make teams, let's like get a league going. And then pretty much at the exact same time, the CSL was happening, and that was in Princeton, and Princeton made a team, and they challenged MIT because the whole Ivy League rivalry.
Wow.
And then that summer, we basically decided to just join up together rather than like me hosting a league here and them hosting a league there.
So who were it was you, and then who were the other founders of?
The other founder was basically Mona.
Okay.
Mona's, I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah.
It's okay. We go by first names here.
Yeah, first name basis. So anyways, when you first started, where did you go from there? Was it like a small university community, and then you just grew to be this big organization? How did that work?
I guess it was mostly like word of mouth. I guess the first season of CSL was only 25 schools.
Oh, wow.
Berkeley beat Texas in the finals of that. And then it pretty much grew like linearly, or rather exponentially maybe, because it was 25 schools, and we went to like 50, and then 75, and then 150. And then season 5 was our biggest in 2012. It was like 300 something, and then last year was the Azubu season, in which we expanded globally, so we had Europe and Asian teams as well, and that was like 600 total.
Wow,
I guess from all over the world.
Yeah, that's a lot. Does it get overwhelming sometimes with so many schools, or is it just fun basically?
I mean, it's fun, but it's also overwhelming in a sense that like we ran the first season off of like spreadsheets, and so that is doable with 25 schools, but not so much with 500. And that's why, we have a website, but that's been like a big issue with like trying to create a website that can handle all of this, and like having enough administrators to like manage it all. It gets like really time consuming and stressful sometimes.
It's hard to also keep track of all of the organizers because you want to be you want to like build a relationship. I'm in the community side, and it's hard for me to keep track of all of these people, but we do we've been trying to have like community game nights where we engage the community because there's so many people, but we want them to all equally be involved.
Yeah, right. So you're not just the president of USC Esports, but you're a community liaison too for it. So you guys work together. It's perfect because you're the president of an esports club, and then
a lot of the people actually who are involved in at least the CSL League of Legends side have been involved in some capacity with their college's club in some way.
Right, and I know you guys both. It's just strictly volunteer work. So how does that work outside? What kind of jobs do you guys have in order to compensate for doing this work for free, basically?
Well, I don't have a job. So I had a job and I left it to do CSL full time.
That's incredible.
So I'm not making any money yet, but I hope one day in the future that will be a thing.
In the future of esports.
Yeah, it just shows your passion then for the esports community because you want it to grow whether it benefits you or not. You just want everybody else to get involved in the community. So what kind of events do you guys put on then with the different schools, different universities?
Well, I guess it ranges from like the actual league activity, which is online weekly matches. So teams play every week. They have an opponent, they play. But we also do, like Sam mentions, we do community game nights. So we'll just like go on and say who wants to play some like random games.
Right.
And we do stuff on campuses occasionally, and we're trying to do that more. So, like, for example, last fall, you were there too at the USC versus UCLA event. So we try to do, like, small things like that on campuses as well, just to, give people things to do. And then every year we try to do a live final. So where we would actually bring the top teams and, like, play the rest of the league out in a live setting with an audience and, some semblance of production value and stuff like that.
Right. Was that the part of I know LCS got involved in the collegiate esport scene. How did that all work?
Not LCS, but like Riot Games organized the North American Collegiate Championships.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. How was CSL involved in that?
Well, we'd been talking about, we've basically been approached by Riot, ourselves, CSL, and the other collegiate organization, Ivy Law. And like we've been talking about doing something sort of unified for almost a year and a half now.
Wow.
And so after a long time after talking about it, Steve Jaws from Riot, he said,
not Steve Jobs, but Steve Jaws.
Steve Jaws, like Jaws,
yeah,
like
right.
the movie, whatever.
Jaws.
He said that he had finally gotten the green light from the company to actually, put this event on. So we talked about how each of our organizations could be involved, and CSL's part was hosting qualifiers as well as providing coverage for the event. And so throughout both our portion and also Ivy Law's portion, which was the open qualifier, and another organization, the NACL, which did the group stage, we provided coverage of that. So we did news articles, interviews, recaps, all that stuff. And then, of course, for the actual final portion of the event, Riot took over. They flew all the teams out to Los Angeles, and they had everybody play on the LCS stage, which was really exciting.
Yeah, that was incredible. All of us went, right? Did you go to that event too? Yeah. It was a lot of fun, actually.
It was. I've never been to the LCS studio, so it was really awesome to see.
It was legit.
Yeah.
Like, there was I think it was $100,000 prize pool and scholarship money.
Yeah.
And who ended up winning the...
San Jose State?
Yeah, it was Washington.
Sorry,
I was like, wait.
No, they played them, though.
Yeah, San Jose played Washington in the finals. And
no, I knew that,
Yeah, and the surprising thing there was that Washington was probably the biggest underdog of the tournament.
Wow.
Like Irvine and San Jose were by far the favorites. San Jose, I think, even more so because, if I'm not mistaken, San Jose is actually like a challenger team. They're the only challenger team, and they're actually, I think they're either competing in the challenger series or they barely like missed out on qualifying for it, but they're like really good. And Washington basically came in and they lost the first game against Irvine in the semifinals, and then they won the next two.
Right.
And then they lost the first game against San Jose, and then they won the next two.
Yeah, I really thought that Irvine was going to come in and take it. They had so many fans there cheering them on, and like just the adrenaline of it.
I felt bad because it was the same thing at our finals last year. We actually bussed in like 150 kids from Irvine. We actually rented like a big charter bus to like bring everybody to our finals. And yeah, they ended up losing to Texas A&M.
Wow.
So I guess they've had some bad luck.
Yeah, Yeah. Other than the bad luck, what are some of your favorite things about being a part of the LCS? I mean, CSL, sorry.
Well,
Well,
I think I'd say just being interacting with the staff is really fun, especially for people who have been with us for some time. We've developed like pretty good friendships,
right.
Even like outside of this. And also just running the events, like the live events in particular, are really fun. I remember after our season 5 finals, we flew in a bunch of teams, like one team from each region, and everyone was saying like, oh, how could we like have this event at our school? And so I think that like people going to a live event and competing in that setting like really helps to motivate players. And I think one thing that like we want to do is kind of show that you can be a competitive gamer and not have to give up going to school. Because the only drawback I would say with like something like the LCS is they basically say, you have to drop out of school and do this.
Right.
And I think that something like CSL or anybody who chooses to do collegiate esports, it's good because then you can have a career as a gamer and also get your education, and that's super important.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, we have at USC we have a player, Case Closed.
Shout out Case Closed.
Shout out to Case Closed.
He's cool.
Yeah, he's very cool. He actually I know that he gets approached a lot because he's a well-known player and he's very good at his role as support. And he turned down opportunities to be a pro gamer to pursue college. But it's really cool. He kind of has the best of both worlds now. He gets to finish up his degree and then also
be a part of
play League of Legends.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know you previously had said that you guys fly a lot of other universities.
Yes.
How do you get the money for that? Because I know it's kind of like a nonprofit organization.
Well, in the past, in 2012, for example, we had a fundraiser, and we actually raised over $5,000, and we were able to use that money to fly in 4 teams. Last year, because we were working with the Zubu, we actually had a very large budget, and so that was all paid for. We actually flew in 8 teams, and we flew in 2 teams from Korea, 2 teams from Europe.
Wow, that's incredible.
And so we had the funding then. This year, we have some sponsorship money, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to be doing another fundraiser to help bring teams to the final. We're still finalizing details of that, but we actually have like a lot of really cool stuff to give away. And so hopefully in the next week or 2, we'll finalize everything and be able to announce it.
Right. Can anyone really get involved in it, or do you have to be a part of a university to do this?
In terms of being a player or like working with CSL?
Let's say both, probably, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you're a player, you obviously need to be a full-time student, and also you need to have a team of a minimum of 5 people who also go to the same school. And we're fairly strict on like making sure people are full-time students and not on like academic probation. So actually it's like a rule that you're not allowed to play if you're on academic probation.
So you guys check out each student that
we
is
check we actually verify transcripts when it comes to the playoffs. We don't have enough time to go through 600 teams, but when it comes to the playoffs, we have them send us proof of enrollment and stuff because we want to make sure that people who are, especially when prize money is involved, like this year or last year, we want to make sure that we're not giving money to some kid who's like failing all of his classes and we want to reward people who are actually focusing on their studies and like able to juggle that and actually be good at the game while being a good student as well.
Yeah, it's like traditional college sports. You have to maintain a certain GPA to be involved, and it sort of like legitimizes esports being strict on those qualities too. And I think if we continue to I'm not talking into the mic.
She's a
if we
noob.
continue,
Sorry, guys.
I know, sorry,
Okay.
such a noob. No, but if we continue to have these legitimate ways of keeping people in the league, then it's sort of also an opportunity for like college administrators to be like, oh, they're focusing on their school, but they're also competing to represent our school, and I think that's
Where do you see it let's say in the next 5 years or in the future, where do you see that collegiate esports scene going?
I'm hoping that it takes on a more mainstream flavor. I think one of the big problems right now with collegiate esports is the fact that these game communities, and I think League of Legends in particular, is like really pro-centric in that like if it doesn't have like the top names in it, people don't care, or if Riot doesn't specifically promote something, people don't really care about it. And I think that's sort of like a drawback of that community in particular. But I think that just if you look at like college sports, for example, people watch and follow college sports even though they're not playing in it, or even though they don't have notable players. It's because of that school attachment and sort of like the community vibe to it. So I feel that like that issue, the issue that CSL or collegiate esports faces right now in terms of like a lack of viewership or attention from like the broader community will dissolve once more time passes. For example, when we have like a list of like classes of people who went to college knowing about CSL or about collegiate esports, and as they go on and get jobs, they'll be able to support it, or they'll look back on it and remember it, and then there'll be like a more of a tradition that develops of like being interested in collegiate esports.
Right.
So I think it's going to grow and follow the college sports model, and I'm hoping that in 5 years or so we can actually create like an official relationship with universities and become like an actual like sanctioned sports league. I think that would be like in a perfect world that's what would happen.
Right. I think that would work out too.
Yeah, I think the first step in that is getting the clubs on each campus to kind of like work with their administrators and show them what they're doing, and again, I keep using the word legitimize, but like show them how legitimate it is.
Yeah, because not very many people think that it's a real thing. They just think people just want to come together to play video games, and that it's not very important.
Yeah, they're like, that's not scholarly, that's not...
Right. If anything, they think that it'll ruin your GPA. But like, if you think about regular sports, like, just like how you had said, your GPA has to be good to play in those, so those can ruin your GPA.
Right. So I mean, that's kind of what we're hoping to accomplish, right? Is by we want to build a case, so I can go to like a university administration and say, look, our players have to uphold like a certain standard. We can help. We've been giving scholarship money, for example, CSL over the past 4 years. We've given almost $200,000 in scholarships.
Wow.
And so like, it's not something that's like going to detract from kids' education, but rather it's something that is actually helping both build a sense of community and involvement with their school, and also helping their careers. Like, for example, I don't think I would associate as much with UCSD if it wasn't for the StarCraft team.
Yeah,
know? And so that helped like build that bond with the school that I wouldn't have necessarily had before that. So I mean, I think these are like really positive signs that it's just, I think it'll take time and like slightly a more like organized effort to really like, break down some of the stigmas associated with gaming, like at an administrative level.
Right. I feel like it'll motivate more people to...
Hopefully.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny. We had an involvement fair on our campus at USC, and something that I had never expected was that like students were coming up to our table. One in particular like recognized one of our players and said like,
case closed.
Oh, case closed. I don't want to keep talking about case closed, but case closed. No, but he came up to our table and he was like, I saw you on a stream. It was like a collegiate championships. Like, that was super cool. I'm a new student. I'm a spring transfer. Tell me more about your club. And we were like, you didn't hear about it from us. You just saw it on the internet randomly. That's so cool.
Yeah, right. That is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool. But what keeps you motivated to keep on going? I know since you said that you don't have a job currently and you're just kind of doing this because of a passion. What makes you keep on going?
Well, mostly the fact that I think that there is something here that's special, that what we're doing, not necessarily just CSL, but just this college esports like scene in general. And obviously one day I hope that it can be something that's like a job, both for myself and also for the people that, work for CSL, because, I want to be able to give people who work with me or for me or whatever, I want to be able to like provide something.
Right.
I want to make esports a career for people. So I mean that's really what drives me.
How many years would you say you've been involved in the entire CSL process?
Since 2009. Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
5 years.
5 years. Wow. How have you seen it change over time?
It's gotten bigger, and people are starting to respect it more. And actually, one thing that I've noticed is that the skill level has really increased dramatically.
Right.
Like
more
every
people.
single year, it's gotten more and more competitive. Like in StarCraft, when we first started, like there were very few players who were even like good. I was probably like one of the better players in CSL. And it's not like I was an amazing StarCraft player, but compared to like college students, I was pretty good.
Yeah, you're amazing. Just
just
saying.
saying.
Try to be
But
humble,
but like now in League of Legends, I mean, you see teams like San Jose, who's basically like challenger tier, or a lot of schools have like diamond or challenger players, and like it's not just like 2 or 3. It's like 50. So it's the skill level is getting way higher, which is really cool.
What do they call the SJSE team? Sergio's Dream?
Sergio's Dream, but I think they're like I think their actual challenger team is called like the Blue Pill or something.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
so check that out then.
They're called Sergio's Dream because their like president is Sergio.
Oh.
It's
Yeah,
pretty funny.
many
I should
people
do
think
that.
of clever names.
Should make our team Sam's Dream.
Yeah, you should.
No.
Dream.
My team was actually called Team Xeris. That's like my idea.
Oh, really?
Wasn't even my idea, I swear. Like one of the guys
Just
was
because
like,
you're so good at
no,
StarCraft.
I wasn't the best. We had a Korean kid on our team who was like really good.
Right. Well,
Because he was
I mean,
Asian,
that's kinda,
obviously.
yeah, expected.
Pretty
I mean, that's kind of expected. So. Okay, so just to kind of recap, where can someone go to get involved if they want their college, again, to be involved in the CSL?
Just check out our website, cstarleague.com. Right now, we're about to start the playoffs, so new teams will have to wait until the fall to register. But we'll basically be announcing that like everywhere. We'll be telling everybody and their grandmas about it.
Yeah, so and also people can find you on Twitter, and then they could find that out when exactly to apply.
Yeah, we'll announce it everywhere. So cstarleague.com is our website. Collegiate LOL is our Twitter, or Collegiate or C-Star League, or Collegiate Dota, or Collegiate whatever. You could probably you'll probably find us, right?
Right. And then, do you have any shout-outs or plugs maybe to add to the end of this?
Oh, certainly. Okay.
Certainly.
Well, our newest sponsor is Ting, and I'm very happy because they've allowed us to guarantee the prize pool for the season. So like super huge thanks to that.
Ting. Yeah.
So if you don't know what Ting is a mobile service provider. And
nice.
yeah, so actually no, like seriously legitimate. Like they are able to provide cheaper rates than like most major providers like T-Mobile and AT&T and stuff.
Right.
As long as you don't use like a bunch of data. So I would check it out, cstarleague.com/ting.
A contest going for that?
We do have a contest, actually. If you go to cstarleague.com/ting, they have a like savings calculator. So if you input like basically how much you pay every month and like how much minutes and texts and data you use every month, you can actually see if you would save money by switching over to Ting. And if you will, they'll tell you exactly how much you'd save. So if you do that, takes like probably 30 seconds, and you click the share button. You can enter to win a Nexus 5.
Wow.
Which is like super cool.
Right. Yeah, that is really cool.
And
I think I'm gonna
actually,
do that.
we actually have a discount too for people switching to Ting. So if you sign up at like csl.ting.com, you can get $25 off. So
make sure to do that, guys.
98% of people would save with Ting.
Right.
Legit. Except I'm actually not one of them because I use like so much data because I'm always on my phone.
Right,
but
yeah. I think
most people
I think
would.
a lot of people do. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I forgot to mention that in the beginning.
I'm not wearing green, but
none of
thank
us
you.
are wearing green.